So I said I'm gonna invite you back every month to talk about some of the ventures that you have put some dollars and cents into. So what do you have today for us, Jewel?
Yeah, so a few companies that I want to talk about today. And there's one that I forgot to mention that I think is relevant to what we're talking about right now. And that is a company called Nickel Pass. And what they do is that they allow for a single access point to publications. And I think
Wait,
they're
wait, wait, wait. What, you say nickel?
Nickel, so
I
Nicklepas.
call some of my friends nickels. All right, Nickel. What now?
So drop the E. So Nickl pass, PASS,
Okay. Oh,
nickelpass.com. And again, they allow for a single access point to publications. So why this is so important right now, we are in an environment where a lot of news and a lot of the information that we receive is very much guarded by the circles that we're in and the social media accounts that we follow. And so we don't always get the best information. And so Nickel Pass is making it so that we can have more access without having to pay as much for all of these individual sites. So you may, pop on a news site and get blocked because you don't subscribe to that site. And Nickel Pass really bundles that up so that you don't have to pay for every single site, but you can get kind of a curated list of sites. And that they do that through organizations. So if your employer wants to allow for more access to news, they work with Nickel Pass to give that access away. And the employer, of course, pays for it. But wanted to share that one because I think it's relevant. We all need.
nah. As a journalist, I think it's important. I feel like this is where it all unraveled when the FCC allowed for a conglomerate. It was Rupert Murdoch. I remember it like it was yesterday, to own all media in one market, radio, TV, and newspapers. It was done because now you get to control every single lever. And now it's local as well. All your local news is controlled by a
Yep.
similar entity. And so we grew up believing, what we read and what we see. And now we can't, because everything is driven by corporate entities and clicks and algorithms instead of news and truth. So this is important. How did Nickel Pass come your way?
So we met Nickel Pass, I believe, through an introduction from another founder in our portfolio. So that's where it comes to being good investors and doing well by our portfolio companies. They start to recommend us to meet other companies. So that's the way that we met the great founding team at Nickel Pass, Zaza and Allison. And so we're really excited to support that business and see them grow.
Okay. All right. And what's the business model? Because I'm trying to see if they're giving away things for free, how how do they make money and how do you make money?
Yeah, so they're not giving it away for free. It feels free to the end user because typically they're working with enterprise companies. So, say, a Visa or a large enterprise, maybe a Sirius, works with them to buy licenses for their team members. And so the end user, if I'm at, just call it Sirius, and I need access to news, the administrator will give that access to me, and then I can float through the web through a curated list of what, call it New York Times and TechCrunch and all of the different publications that are relevant to my work without having to meet those blocks on the website. I can go straight through just from a Chrome extension that Nickel Pass provides. So it's one single login and you get access to all the news sites that your organization has selected.
I like it. I'm on it. I'm going to spend some time with it.
Yes.
Get my
And
free
we're
trial.
customers at Collab. So we need to be up on the latest news and particularly on the tech news. And so we use it as part of just knowing what's going on in our industry, and give access to our team members as well. So it's a really great solution, very slick, seamless. The sign up is super easy. So you just go to nickelpass.com and you can sign up from there.
Okay, I like it. What else what else, and when did this happen? So when from inception, introduction to, okay, we're going to throw some investment behind this, what was that window?
Yeah, so I think we met Nickel Pass over a year ago and invested about a year ago. And typically, just so people understand what our process looks like, we'll meet a founder, we'll get to know them, get to know the team, understand more about the underlying business model, what they're building, what their roadmap looks like. So, what the future vision of the company looks like. Think about what are the ways that we can help support this business and help grow the business. And then from there, we typically there's some banter back and forth between the team. So there'll be one partner that's leading the deal. We'll interrogate, does this make sense? Are they approaching it in the right way? Do we believe that we can be helpful to the growth of the business? And this one was pretty easy conversation because all of us know how challenging and annoying it is when you are ready to read an article and then you hit that block on the website. And so we could see the value proposition really simply. And then it comes to, do we believe that this business is going to be able to grow and scale $100 million plus in annual revenue? That's what we're underwriting and looking for at the onset. And then it is, how do we believe that we can help the business? So this is one that we're super excited about. They've grown really well over the past year since we invested, and we're continuing on the journey with them to help them continue to grow.
I love it. Jill Burks Solomon is here, venture capitalist, and Collab Capital is where she is doing her work right now. What else? Who else have you bestowed the blessing upon?
Yeah, so speaking of media, and in light of what I hope is a successful end of the strike that's been going on in the film industry, film and TV, one of our investments that we're really excited about is a company called Film Hedge. And what they do is they're a fintech platform that offers financial services to media borrowers. And so, said another way, they are helping to finance films. So you can go on Film Hedge's website, you can apply for financing if you're a filmmaker. If you are an investor, you could actually, if you're an accredited investor specifically, you can apply to a product they have called Media Hedge, where you can actually become a financier of films, which is awesome because oftentimes it's really difficult for your everyday investor to get access to top tier films and being a part of top tier films. So they're providing and sort of democratizing access to that for your everyday, I'll say everyday, but accredited investor. So they're kind of coming at it from two different angles. And the team there is, again, world-class team. John Gossier, he was a tech startup founder. He has been a filmmaker in the past and really well connected in the industry. And then his co-founder comes from a larger bank where he was financing films on that side. So they have a really incredible team and a really big market opportunity given all that's happening in the film industry.
And all that needs to happen. An accredited investor is someone who has $200,000 income past 2 years, or whose joint income with their spouse is greater than 300,000 for those 2 years. So it's an actual, so you have to be able to prove that. And then, so does that also make you a producer?
Yes. So you can
get a producer credit. Produced by? Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then if it wins an Oscar, you get to go up on the stage, you get an Oscar.
Yes, hopefully, I don't know that they've had any need to reach that level yet, but I know they've done events at Cannes and bringing people out who are involved in the business. I'm hoping I can go with them next year to that. But I think it's really amazing to see how we have been shut out of so many of these industries for so long. And Black innovators are figuring out how to get us access into these spaces that we historically haven't had access to.
Now, is it any kind of film, or is it short docs? Is it TV series? I see TV on here. If you want a TV series like what I'm watching right now, Lessons in Chemistry, or Lawman, Bass Reeves, if it's, because I look at Taylor Sheridan, who came out of absolute nowhere. I'm like, we could do that. Using history, as the backdrop. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I think they are expansive as far as the types of films. The main point, though, is that they typically are working with studios. So they're working with the Amazons and the Netflix. So films that have gotten some type of green light or backing from a larger organization like an Amazon Studios or one of the other studios is typically what they're working with. But I would say if you have a film, or if you're a filmmaker, apply on the site, because another thing that they've done a really great job of is funneling. And maybe if they can't provide the funding, then they can give you access to others who may in the network who may be able to provide it.
Amen. Okay. So that you got me writing notes because I have ideas. I have thoughts. Jewel, I have thoughts. We can need to talk. We need to talk. Jewel Burks Solomon is here. We're talking about all the ways in which her company has invested. How did you meet these guys?
So John has been, like I said, a long time entrepreneur. The Atlanta entrepreneurship ecosystem is pretty small. So we met many years ago. I actually didn't know that he was working on a new company, and he attended an event, heard a little bit more about what he was doing, and then it piqued our interest at Collab. Each of us, my partners and I, each of us met up with him individually. This was around the holidays last year, so almost a year that we've been in this business, and got really excited once I heard from him what he was doing and the potential in the business. And we invested, shortly after. So this was one of our first investments of this year. I think we invested in January of this year. But now that the strike is over and, there's a lot of pent up demand for new production, this business is doing extremely well, and it's going to continue to grow really well.
So did they need you though? Because I feel like they already they were already giving money away. So do you water down do you know what I'm saying? Y'all coming in, do you make it thinner for the person who's doing the film?
Well, no, because the financing, when you think about what's financing the films, that's actually that's debt financing that's happening through different vehicles than the equity financing that we put directly into the film hedge business. So they did need us from the standpoint of building capacity to be able to service all of the different requests that they're getting for financing on the film side. So we're helping to, make sure that they can have a staff and build out their products and services and the platform and the technology that they use to determine whether a film should be eligible for financing or not. That's where we come in. And, we try in all of our investments, we really are not just the capital, but we're also, I'm talking about Film Hedge on the radio, and we're looking at how can we get this company connected to more capital, and we've made some good connections on that side. So that's why anyone brings an investor in is not just this $1 million check that we're bringing, but also who can we connect them to? How can we be helpful as they think about expansion and their go-to-market plans and all of that? That's really what we bring to the table.
Okay. Jewel, by the way, is also at Jewel in Nubia, which I didn't know until I first met you. And I mean, it's humbling because as we build community from the inside, from the ground up. We're not waiting for the trickle down. We got to build from the ground up. And so you have been always this person rolling up your sleeves, and it is amazing to see where your tentacles are very wide. And I love that. And just humbly too, she just rolling through, y'all, doing some amazing things quietly. I love it. Jewel Burks Solomon is here. Okay, I love these two. Okay, give us a third.
Third. So the last one is a fun one. This is a company called Hairbrella, and they are
wait, like an umbrella but with hair?
Correct. But that's not the product. It's really protection from the elements. So they have started out with a rain hat. That's kind of the flagship product. And just to give a quick backstory, I met the founder, Tracy Pickett. We had mutual friends, and one of our mutual friends connected us. Shout out to Royce Fable. He connected us many, many years ago. And I met with Tracy. She was just starting the business. Had very rough kind of prototype at that time of the product. And honestly, at the time, I was like, oh, she seems so smart and great, but I don't know about this. I don't know about this business. And it actually happened that it was a downpour after I was leaving her. And she had given me a sample of the product. And I used it and it worked perfectly. And I just gotten my hair pressed and I was like, oh, wow, actually, this is amazing invention. And so from then on, I angel invested in the business and then continued to support her, help her. And she went on from where she was, very early revenue. She was just doing a Kickstarter campaign to get things off the ground, to having a breakout year in 2019 and 2020, and really growing from just the rain hat flagship product to now having many different types of head protection, including a sleep cap, a swim cap, what made the Oprah's favorite things list, which we're super excited about for 2023, which is a sun hat. So Oprah is, using the Hairbrella sun hat on her, hikes in Maui, in Hawaii. So super excited for that. But now the business has just gone gangbusters, and she continues to innovate and put new products out into the market, particularly with the focus on protection for Black hair. And it's, you'll look at her ads and you'll see different people, but she designed it specifically with Black hair in mind and protecting us from the elements.
Well, Jewel, all hair matters,
Yeah.
all hair matters. So we're gonna lean into that. But what I love, working out, those of you who work out, I'm gonna wear a scarf, I'm gonna wear a scarf to bed, but these are satin lined. Those of you with edge issues or your edges are a little thin, you want to get that satin lining. Yes. And then there's waterproof on top of that. So you got inside out protection, and that sun hat is beautiful. I saw so many people in Nubia and Kemet this summer with Dr. Carr and Dr. Beatty, and I saw quite a few sun hats, but I bet none of you had one that had a satin lining and protection on the outside. This is amazing. It is waterproof. Also Omni Wick sweatband, so it wicks, I guess, the sweat away.
The moisture, yes.
Moisture wicking.
Yes. I will say Tracy, she has done a phenomenal job with product development and innovation, and really just building best in class products in a category where we have, used shower caps and things that are not very beautiful and not very elegant. And she's really focused in on that for us. So love that company and the product, and just thrilled that she's made Oprah's favorite things list, because that's been on her vision board for a while. So we're really excited about that.
Now, did you orchestrate that? How did that happen?
I can't take credit for that. I think it is really, and by the way, I have tried over the years to, send things to Oprah's people and all of that. But I think it's really years of putting out great products and people talking about it and them spreading and people being excited about it. So one thing I will say, I don't think that Oprah is the type of person that's easily influenced. I think she really does care about the products that she endorses. So this is just a matter of having a really strong product and getting her attention organically.
You would think that a hat wouldn't bring in, like the markup of that can't be with so much, somebody's in this apparel space, right? And especially if you're doing things domestically, or because it's even more expensive domestically. How does an investor, because I'm always thinking about that too, because again, the return is important.
Yes, I will say, just to be transparent, Hairbrella is our only product-based company, because we learned it was our first investment as a fund and our last product-based company, because we really understood more about what does it take to get a product to grow and scale at the level that we needed to in order to get the returns back into the fund. Luckily, she has done a really good job of growing and scaling, but it has been a rocky road. It has been challenging along the way. And for us, it's been amazing learnings. We're still on this journey as early, emerging managers is kind of the category that we're in. So we're learning what businesses make sense for our skill sets and what we know. And we've been really excited to be along with Tracy on the journey, and particularly for me, being with her from really the very beginning, and seeing her evolution as an entrepreneur along the way. But it comes down to, in her business, and the reason I think she's been super successful is that she is a student of her business and her numbers. And what that looks like for her is understanding for every dollar that she's putting into marketing, what's going to come back into the business, understanding what are going to be lead products and what are going to be back end products where she can, turn on a new product and get her email list to buy it first. Understanding from an inventory perspective, what makes sense as far as launching new products, launching new colors, how many SKUs do you keep in inventory? How do you launch new products? So all of those things, Tracy she's been brilliant around how do you build a business that can scale where the margins do make sense in a product category, which is really very challenging to do.
Wow. I'm going through it now. I think I'm about to buy something after we
Please.
get off. I am. Well, I mean, the shower cap is, it's stylish too. So if you get caught out there, the doorbell rings, you can, look a nice, because I'll be looking a mess sometimes going to the store out there in the streets just because why should I, but this actually is stylish too. And they got do-rags for dudes. So everybody can be protected. I love it.
Yes, and they have beanies, and there's trapper hats, and there's a lot of different hats, particularly for the holidays, that would be great for gifting. And that's one of the things that she has discovered is that where women were her primary audience initially, it's now, I think her split is like 60-40 women to men, and men are really enjoying the products as well, as they're taking better care of their hair, caring about their edges as well. So yeah, it's cool to see that it's expanding that way.
Shout out to the Wave crew. Yes, I agree. When you come back next time, I want to do like a deconstruction of a company so that people can see what makes something viable enough for you to invest in.
Yes.
Can we do that when you come back?
Yes, let's do it. Right. I would love to do that, because I think people, they'll hear me talk about Hairbrella and they'll say, oh, I have a scarf company, or I have a product company. And so we can be venture backable. And the reality is, and honestly, and me and Tracy have this conversation all the time, the vast majority of product companies are not a fit for venture capital. And maybe including this company. So anyway, that's something that we can definitely talk about in more detail.
I look forward to it. Jewel Burks Solomon. Check her out. That's right. Collab Capital, jewelburks.com, and at Jewel in Nubia.